Alright, I can guarantee you the fucking cost and this guy's, he's gonna throw all the shit right through here. A lot of them. He'll send his fancy little monkeys and special snowflakes down on the other side. But y'all are just going to be laying out lots and lots of rounds. You're fine.
Trevor Cornell. Trevor. Go. Move. Hit. Let it. Talk. Go. We're not winning.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that Operation Ironhorse gameplay montage. Special thanks to American MilSim for putting on a great event, and special thanks to the Guardian Center for letting airsofters back into such a great AO. Now there's a few things I did want to talk about. I was very fortunate enough to do live broadcasting via Periscope during the entire event, so I was able to document force movements between UFS and COS through the entire day. So we're going to dive into a really deep AAR, talking about the AO specifically, maybe some of its limitations, and some of the aspects of gameplay from Operation Ironhorse. Now, in order to do that, we have to compare some of the differences from Sovereign Fury back in 2013 at the Guardian Center. One of the key differences, weather. The weather during Operation Ironhorse was perfect. It was a high of 60, low of 38 at night, just cool enough so that way when you work up a sweat you're at room temperature during the game. It was really great, so it stopped a lot of heat casualties as previously Sovereign Fury was during the summer. Second big thing, cars. The placements of cars between buildings really added to the ability for troops to move between buildings, where opposed to Sovereign Fury, we had a lot of guys shooting between buildings but not really moving and taking them. It was a lot harder to do. Now third most important thing, players. There's a lot of new players to American MilSim's Operation Ironhorse. Some who have never done MilSim or American MilSim before. But you know what? It's always good to have some new players in our community, and for the most part, things went really well. There are a lot of players and scenarios, and specifically that you know, have specific circumstances that can get out of hand, but for the most part, everything went great. Everyone knew the rules. Everyone listened pretty well from what I can see. Alright, now we're going to talk about this AO specifically on UFS movements, so let's dive into what the movements between UFS and COS were at. So early game, at the very start of day one, UFS, this is the UFS fob and this is the COS fob, and that's north, alright? So the UFS quickly, as you saw Big Candy mention, take this western flank in this cluster of buildings and move on this flank here to the east all the way around the corner, and completely takes this corner, including this tunnel, and completely stops. This tunnel left to right is out of play, but north to south is in play. So COS just couldn't get to those buildings quick enough, and UFS really secured their flanks, and it's very important that they did. But the mistake that UFS, I believe, made is that this western flank is the most important because of the limitations of their fob. Now, later in the day, COS pushed on this western flank. They couldn't get on this eastern flank. UFS had that completely locked down, and it was completely gridlocked in the middle here, but COS really pushed hard on this western flank to get UFS out. Now, COS managed to get UFS completely out and occupy this 3-story building and 2-story building. This is completely open ground. No cars, no vehicles, nothing. So it was really hard for UFS to really move to these buildings right here because there's too much fire going on. So they're forced and they're pincered from this building to go to 41, 42, 43, and that really limits their movement because they can't cross the street because, again, fire from these buildings. So UFS made a really crazy and amazing push that we captured live via Periscope. Huge force, probably half, 75% of their force, tossing smoke as they go, pushing on and capturing and getting a foothold within building 38 right over here. And they really had to try and maintain that to help put fire on these buildings and allow for the flow of troops to move from 40, 39 and into the other buildings. Now the problem is COS was able to push them back out and occupy these buildings here, severely restricting the flow of movement of UFS troops. By dusk, COS had completely taken over this western flank, had 31, 39, median here in the middle, but then UFS actually pushed from this corner to building 19. Now, they could have probably moved those troops and taken the western flank, but once they got COS got into these buildings and really put fire down, UFS could knock it out, and that was just the limitations of the FOB. On day 2, there was an equal start, and UFS got to this flank early and was able to lock down these buildings, and there was a complete median where UFS troops had the first half of the building. They didn't get to that corner again because they realized it's not as important on day one. They took this western wing. And the UFS goal for day 2 was to get to an objective here in the bank in 31 in the very center. Meanwhile, cost just diverted a median of their force, just a small amount, to hold up defensive pushes to stop them from going in the bank, and have really UFS pour a lot of troops in and fall onto those BBs while they had small squads move in and look for objectives here in the eastern flank, which was relatively unprotected, as for UFS pushing really hard for those objectives. On the contrary, UFS continued pushing hard this way, but as they also found, just by occupying this story, destroying this story, they really couldn't push from this building to get across the street. So they couldn't really flank around either. So basically what it comes down to for Operation Ironhorse is the Battle of the FOMs. And this L-shaped, this tunnel north and south, and this tunnel which they can't go into, this really limits the flanking abilities for those forces. Maybe it would have been a different story on day 1 if UFS could actually move past this building and really start cinching at the cost fob, much as cost did to the UFS fob. Here's a severe limitation for the UFS moving in. So once cost took that over, that was it. They restricted the flow of troops. And that's a big limitation. I would suggest any event producer that moves in the future really occupy this with vehicles and put more vehicles in the street to allow more movement. We had great movement during the day. It was a little bit easier to get between buildings, but even more would be better, and even perhaps boarding up some of these windows to allow for that. And maybe even on this side, just board up some windows and stop restrictions, so if you hold the building you can't see out in perfect 360 degrees. Make it a little more interesting, a little bit easier for troops to push out of those buildings and try to get close to the other ones, and really make for some dynamic action. So special thanks to the Florida MilSim Association. They had teams from Florida on both UFS and COST all working together. The FMA is all about getting all the players from Florida, whether they're on teams or solo, to work together in addition to those businesses. Also, be sure to check out Operation Overwatch, hosted by Doomsday Airsoft, here coming up in April. It's going to be an awesome, amazing national event here in Florida, first of its kind at the Altair facility, a former Florida Max prison. Do not miss that event. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. And you know what? Check out MilSim Squirrel on Twitter. As I said, we were periscoping live footage so you can interact and comment live and see news as it develops on the field, and really see how UFS or COST or whatever, however that event is unfolding live. Also check out some of our older videos, including the Altair overview and interviews we had with Altair, and taking a look at that Florida Max prison facility. I'm MilSim Squirrel, and I'll see you guys out there.